How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Elvis Junction Reviews. Today we're looking at another Athearn product. We're looking at an Athearn Denver and Rio Grande SD40T-2 number 5413. This is the 90s version, which means it has ditch lights. And this is the brand new Athearn ready-to-roll box, but now it's just been branded as Athearn. And it is just a beautiful, it's nice yellows and blues and whites. And here's the cool part. On the back is this lovely rendition of two, I believe these are GP38s for CP and Sioux line, and they look really cool. And now it says here, Athearn has supported your imagination by making the realization of your dreams as easy as humanly possible. Anyway, so this is just a beautiful looking box. I really like the new design. Oops. So let's go ahead and get it out of its box. And as you see, it is DC and sound equipped, so there will be a sound demo portion of this video. Let's pull it out of here. Inside of this yellow box now. And there we go. Inside our box is a few more things, like including the sign up for Athearn News, which we already have done. So let's move that out of the way. We have our Horizon Hobbies extended warranty sheet, as we always get with every locomotive. The Tsunami Diesel Quick Start Guide, which basically just details all the different sound features of this locomotive, and includes a function assignments. And here is our exploded diagram of the SD40T-2. So let's go ahead and just, here's the exploded diagram, so you can see. Very cool indeed. All right, so now let's get actually into opening up the locomotive here. So let's move this piece of plastic off, take this foam off of here, open up the clamshell, and there is a piece of clear plastic sheeting right here, and there's our locomotive all nice and beautiful in there. All right, and now let's get that foam out of the actual locomotive here. Oh Jesus, let's try not to damage the locomotive as we're reviewing it. That would, but you know what that did? It actually knocked the foam out. I know, but I will quickly check the locomotive, make sure nothing is damaged, and if I did damage anything, I will get back to you. And now on to some history. Combustion engines produce exhaust. This exhaust contains carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and other gases. These gases are not just harmful to living creatures, but to the engines as well. And because these gases rise, air intake vents suck in these fumes, which can damage the engine's vital components. So how do you combat these issues when your railroad has a lot of long tunnels and snow sheds? In 1974, EMD introduced the SD40T-2 to help combat these issues. The radiator intakes and radiator fan grills were located at the rear of the locomotive where the fresh air was more accessible inside a tunnel. These locomotives served the Rio Grande, the Southern Pacific, and the Cotton Belt admirably, and some still exist in various states of operability. Our locomotive here, the Denver Rio Grande and Western, number 5413, was built in March of 1980, and funnily enough, it's still in service today as the Wheeling Lake Erie 5413, and it's still in its Rio Grande colors. So isn't that really cool? All right, so now let's get into some detail, starting with the front. Alrighty, so you're currently looking at the front of the locomotive, and we'll start from the top and work our way down to the bottom, as we always do. Starting at the top, you can see a beacon light, which I'm not sure if that operates when the locomotive is in motion, but I will find out during the sound demo. Right here we have our number boards, which unfortunately do not light up when the locomotive is in motion, and there is our forehead-mounted headlight. This is the main headlight, by the way. This one down here I'll explain in a little bit. We have some separately applied windshield wipers on each window here. One here, there's a combo right here, and one right here. This is the locomotive, this is the door to the inside of the cab on this side right here. You can see the sunshades, one of them right here, and the other one is right here. This one unfortunately got bent down when the locomotive dropped when we were unboxing. And don't worry, I didn't find anything damaged on the locomotive, so we are okay. Let's actually see if I can move it back a little bit. Oh, there we go, perfect, done. See, that's the nice thing about those. Moving on to the actual nose of the locomotive, you can just see it, but there is the sand filler hatch right here. When we look at the roof, you'll be able to see a grab iron on the nose, which is right in here. We have our class lights, which are still there. And this is the gyro light. Gyro lights were basically an added safety feature that only certain railroads did. So like the Rio Grande, the Cotton Belt, the Southern Pacific, and also Metra, they have gyro lights on their locomotives so that they make it a lot more visible. We have a lovely Rio Grande logo right here on the nose, and there is our walkway light right there. We have 2 grab irons. They're kind of obscured by the handrails here, one right here and one right there. And now let's actually move on to the front of the locomotive here. So here is our walkway handrails and the safety chain right there. Here are our ditch lights. They do operate when the locomotive is in motion. We have our orange coupler cut bar. Here is the coupler right here, our snowplow, and 3 MU hoses on either side of the snowplow. All right, so now let's look at the rear of the locomotive. Looking at the rear of the locomotive, we have a grab iron right on top of here, the top of the radiators, grills. We have a little number board here that says 5413. We have some handrails that work the way from the top of the locomotive all the way down to the walkway. We have some more class lights, and there's our rear headlight, and that lovely zebra arrow stripes, which is really cool looking. Our handrails, again, right here. Our coupler cut bar, some more air MU hoses, 3 on either side of the coupler. Here is our coupler, and here are some spare knuckles right on either side of those MU hoses. All right, so now let's look at some side detail. Looking at the side here, we have our brake wheel right here on the side of the nose. There's that coupler, there's that handrail I did mention earlier. There's a lovely big F to indicate this is the front of the locomotive. Here is our truck detail, and there's a jack pad right there. There's the EMD builder's plate. Here is the bell, which I believe looks a little bent inwards, so I'm not actually going to touch it in fear of it actually snapping off. Here's the cab. There's nothing inside the cab except for those wires for the headlight and the driver light. Here's our number, 5413. As we move along here, there is the blower of the locomotive right here. Here's our fuel tank and some lovely marks right here. There's a emergency stop button for the fuel. As we move along, here is the dynamic brake fan area and that beautiful Rio Grande logo. It's such an iconic, for rail fans, it's a very iconic logo. As we move along here, you can see the horn just kind of jutting out of the rear of the long hood of the locomotive. As we move along here, this is what gave the SD40T-2s their name, nicknamed the tunnel motors, because of this unique way of how the grills and the fans were placed. And we have another 5413 right there on the side of the locomotive. It's pretty much the same on the other side, minus that blower. And as you can see, as we move the locomotive forward here, and as we move it forward, you can see it's pretty much the same. And voila. All right, so now let's look at the roof of the locomotive. Looking at the roof of the locomotive, there's that sand filter hatch I did mention earlier, and there's actually a little grab iron right here, as you can see. Here is that beacon, and here is a Sinclair antenna. Moving along here, we have a dust collector right here, and right behind that is our exhaust port. We have our dynamic brake fans right here. There's this. I really do not know what this is, so if somebody does know what that is, please let me know. There is our horn right there, and here are the radiator grills, which are very, very cool. All right, so now let's get into the sound demo of this video. Alrighty, so now we have the locomotive on the test track, so now let's go ahead and add some power to said track. And we have our startup sequence here. So now it's currently idling. Let's turn on the main headlight up on the top of the locomotive. There it is. F5 activates the gyro light. You can see it is flashing. F6 is our ditch lights. Now let's hear the bell. Now let's hear the horn. So F2 is a long horn, F3 is a short. Now let's go ahead and activate the bell. Let's go moving here. And now let's throw it into reverse. And let's bring it back here for the end of the sound demo. right, so now let's move on to my final thoughts. For a non Athearn Genesis locomotive, this is a very good looking locomotive. I love the design, I love the detail, I love the sound. It looked great, sounds great. So I had to give this locomotive a solid A+ in terms of the non-Genesis detail run. But anyway, I also got this locomotive from Lombard Hobbies, and I plan to get a few more once my next paycheck rolls in. But anyway, if you enjoyed, please hit that like button. Also subscribe if you have not, and hit that notification bell to know when I upload. I upload on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so tune in on those days and at that time to see what I have to upload next. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.